Well, hello, folks. Happy day 4 to our pastor's devotional series this week. And we're looking at this Galatians chapter 5 passage, chapter 5, 22 to 23, the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And so what we're doing is we're trying to take one word each day and see how is it that Jesus gave evidence of or lived out that fruit. You see, these are not aspirational things that we just hope someday we might be able to do this. These are the things that if Jesus lived them and we are in Christ, then these things would be produced out of our lives as well. And so as a way of helping us produce these things out of our lives, what I wanted to do is to read a passage of Jesus doing or living these things in his own earthly life, in his public ministry. And so today is patience. All right, raise of hands. For whom is patience one of the hardest things in this list of 9? None of them are easy. But man, I bet you if we took a poll of the people who are watching this, patience would be near the top if we had to list them, not from 1 to 9, the hardest ones to achieve patience. And the passage I'm going to read today is from Mark chapter 8, Gospel of Mark chapter 8, verse 14. And let me just, as you're finding that, Mark 8, 14, let me just preface this a little bit. So just before the part that we're going to read today, what happens is one of the stories of the feeding of the thousands on the hillside. So Jesus is teaching. It's at the end of the day. There's thousands of people there, and his disciples realize that these people have nothing to eat. They've been here all day. You can't run down to the fast food stop in ancient Near East, and so we need to feed them. And so Jesus takes a couple fish and a few loaves of bread, and he multiplies that and feeds everyone to an abundance. Now the disciples just saw Jesus take a couple loaves of bread and a couple fish and feed thousands of people. As soon as that is over, they get in a boat and they're going to the other side of the lake, sort of to retreat a little bit. And then this story happens. Verse 14. Now the disciples had forgotten to bring any bread, and they had only one loaf with them in the boat. Remember, Jesus just multiplied a couple loaves for thousands of people. And Jesus cautioned them, saying, "Watch out, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod." They said to one another, "It is because we have no bread." Really? They just saw Jesus feed thousands of people with a couple loaves of bread. And now they discover that amongst them, so a dozen of them, they only have one loaf of bread. And Jesus begins his speech. They think that Jesus is angry because they didn't bring any food. He just fed thousands of people with a couple loaves. And they think that Jesus is angry with them because they didn't bring enough bread. 17, and becoming aware of it, Jesus said to them, "Why are you talking about having no bread?" I mean, seriously, guys? You didn't see what I just did with thousands of people and a couple of loaves of bread? You think I'm angry because you didn't? We could feed everyone with this one loaf of bread. Did you not see? Do you not understand? Do you hear impatience here? I mean, if I was Jesus, my impatience level through the roof. But he has patience with them. Do you still not perceive or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Do you have eyes and fail to see? Do you have ears and fail to hear? And do you not remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you collect? They said to him, 12. And the 7 and the 4,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you collect? And they said to him, 7. Then he said to them, "Do you not yet understand?" I got to tell you, if I were Jesus, maybe what I would have done is just taken all 12 of those and throw them overboard right then. Not the loaves, the people, the disciples. I just fed thousands of people with a couple loaves. And moments later, you think I'm angry that you all only brought one loaf because we're not going to have enough food to eat tonight? Do you not yet see and understand who I am? You don't get it. But he doesn't throw them overboard. He just continues the teaching. And to me, this is one of the most powerful examples of Jesus' patience. They just don't get it yet. Those closest to him don't get it yet. And I've got to admit, there's times no matter how much I study or worship or pray, that I just don't get it yet. That I don't forgive like he wants me to forgive, or I'm not generous like he wants me to be generous, or I don't understand like I should understand with the amount of study that I've done. Thankfully, our promise is that there is a God who is slow to anger and steadfast in love with us. And he practices that patience with us, which should always elicit a response from us to say, if God is this patient with me, how can I be more patient with others? And how can I be more patient with myself? It's a fruit that's not easy to bear, but we get evidence of it from Christ, and we are to give it to ourselves and to others. How on this day might you exhibit that patience for yourself? Might you exhibit that patience for others? God bless.